Did you guys hear that?
Yep, recording in progress.
All right, cool. Let me pull up my script here. 1 minute. It's a pleasure to see all of you. Mayor, whenever you're ready, you can call the meeting to order. Councilwoman Romney Rice. Councilman Mike Pagan.
Here.
Councilwoman Organ. Here. Councilman Kaplan. Deputy Mayor Schwartz.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Katz. Mayor Dunleavy.
Here.
Adequate notice of this resolution has been provided by resolution number 265-2021, sending a copy to the papers officially designated for 2022 by way of resolution number 4-2022, filing a copy in the township clerk's office and posting it on the municipal building bulletin board, and the mayor hereby directs that this statement be included in the minutes. The first resolution that we are considering this evening is resolution number 210-2022, authorizing council to enter into closed session. Be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Teaneck, pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act, the Township Council meet in closed session to discuss the following subject matters: COVID update, garden to nurture human understanding, training, library, personnel, legal issues and/or opinions regarding any items on the open session agenda, litigation updates, and of course, Oprah. Subsections 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and be it further resolved that as precisely as can be determined at this time, the discussion conducted in this said closed session can be disclosed to the public upon taking final action thereon, or upon provided disclosure shall not violate the attorney-client privilege or constitute an undue invasion of privacy. Do we have a first on that? Was that was Councilwoman Organ, and the second was Deputy Mayor Schwartz?
Yeah.
All right, perfect. Then we will see everybody upstairs. Ron, please follow. Thank you.
You're gonna pause this?
I'm gonna mute my screen and I'm gonna mute the recording. I'm gonna pause the recording.
United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Am I good to call the roll, Mayor?
Yeah, we're just waiting for Ellie to get up here. So yeah, call the roll.
Oh, apologies. All right, we got Councilwoman Romney Rice. Oh, Jamon's
She's
not
here.
here.
She's here.
Councilman Pagan.
Here.
Councilwoman Organ. Councilman Kaplan.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Schwartz.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Katz.
Here.
Mayor Dunleavy.
Here.
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by resolution number 265-2021, sending a copy to the newspapers officially designated for 2022 by way of resolution number 4-2022, filing a copy in the township clerk's office and posting it on the municipal building bulletin board, and the mayor hereby directs that this statement be included in the minutes.
Hey, good evening, everybody, and welcome. Tonight, we have from Township Administration, Dean Kaczynski, Township Manager, Doug Roussillon, who is still a little under the weather, but he's logging in remotely to help us this evening. Kristen Denorcha, our Deputy Township Clerk, is here. Tom Rowe, Deputy Township Manager. Luis DePaz, Manager's Assistant. Ron Goodman, Volunteer Cable Caster Extraordinaire. Clarence Barnes, our Building Maintenance Person, and John Shadanian from the law firm of Trank, Isabel, Siddiqui, and Shadanian. Upcoming events and council meetings. For the public's information, we are currently holding a hybrid format meeting. We have people in person and on Zoom. If our Wi-Fi at the municipal building has an issue where the Zoom part of the meeting drops, we will aim to retrieve the connection and start the meeting again. If we are unable to continue the Zoom meeting, this council meeting will be adjourned and rescheduled. The next televised council meeting will take place on Tuesday, August 9th at 6:30 PM. The public portion will begin at 8 PM. The council met prior to this open session and closed session to discuss the following: COVID update, Garden to Nurture Human Understanding, training, library, personnel, legal issues and their opinions regarding any items, open session agenda items, litigation updates, and Oprah. All right, moving on. Tonight we have a presentation, Teaneck Life Membership Award. Absolutely. And as I've been told, life member, Deputy Mayor Schwartz.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, members of the public. A member is awarded life membership in the organization when they have attained 10 consistent years of service to the township. Life membership is a prestigious designation, one that all TVAC members strive to attain. The designation comes with numerous privileges, one of which is no longer being required to ride a scheduled weekly shift or a biannual Sunday shift. Tonight, we're here to recognize Perry Mayer, who has reached a significant milestone, and he has not only not taken advantage of being able to reduce his commitment, but he has committed to continuing to be one of TVAC's top responders each and every month. Shortly after being honorably discharged from the U.S. Coast Guard, and Perry, thank you for your service to our country. Perry joined TVAC as a probationary member in 2012. In his 10 years of membership, he has served both the ambulance corps and the township with honor and distinction. Perry became an EMT, completing his probationary period and becoming a regular member, all within his first year of membership. Over time, he has served in multiple leadership capacities, including as Chief of Operations, Lieutenant of Supply, Lieutenant of Personnel, as a crew chief and as chair of our probationary training committee. Perry has also been the recipient of numerous awards for providing life-saving interventions, including TVAC's most prestigious award, the Medal of Valor. This award was bestowed for Perry's response while off duty to a mass casualty incident in New York City's Times Square involving a multiple shooting where Perry provided life-saving aid prior to the arrival of EMS. These accomplishments obviously show the commitment Perry has to TVAC, but it is also important to note that Perry is not, nor has he ever been, a Teaneck resident. Yet he continues to do all he can to serve the Teaneck community on a 100% volunteer basis without any form of monetary compensation. Perry will continue to be assigned to the Friday overnight and Saturday day shifts on a weekly basis, as he has done for the past 10 years, and he will continue to ride his biannual Sunday shift. Over his TVAC tenure, Perry has responded on more than 5,700 emergency calls, placing him as number 7 on the TVAC all-time responder list. So tonight, on behalf of TVAC's administrative and operational leadership, as well as our entire membership, we are proud to award life membership and the TVAC Gold Badge to Perry Mayer. Perry.
Let's say a few words.
Yeah. Thank you for everyone to come, and I don't know. Happy to serve the township of Teaneck.
I can say something about Perry. So 10 years and 5,700 calls. If you break that down per day, per week, per month, per year. I received life membership at the ambulance corps in 1997. And how many calls did I have then after 10 years? 2,000. And how many do you have? Almost 3,000. You win. But for everybody out there and for everyone who lives in town, understand that when ambulance corps members go out on calls, it's not just themselves, their time, waking up in the middle of the night, leaving in the middle of a meal. It's their families and their friends that they could be spending time with, and they're not. They're coming into your homes to help you when you're needed. TVAC has never charged a dime. They are strictly volunteer. Nobody is paid. And the people that ride are family. Anybody who stopped by the headquarters on the 4th of July has seen people who have been there for decades, who take care of each other and who love each other. And it is the best of the best that Teaneck has to offer. I encourage everyone to donate, to join, even if you're not a fan of gore and blood. There is so much that you can do. Friends of the Teaneck Ambulance Corps could be a thing. Come help support these people. And a huge shout out to you, Perry. 5,700 calls in 10 years is so wonderful. We thank you for everything you've done.
Councilman Kaplan.
I really want to congratulate you. I know what kind of honor that actually means. Getting up in the middle of the night for your own family is never an easy task. Getting up night after night after night, early mornings, whenever the call comes in for everyone that needs you throughout an entire community is a phenomenal thing that is beyond words. TVAC has come to my house on occasion. You think you're prepared for it when your kid starts turning blue. TVAC are the people that you if you need somebody, one running through the door. And I really want to thank you for all you've done. And the Life membership is a phenomenal testimony to how much dedication you've put in at the organization. So thank you on behalf of residents, and keep up the great work.
Councilmember Rice.
Just want to say thank you to you personally for all the work that you do, the 10 years in dedication, but also to all of the members of TVAC who dedicate their time and energy. I see a few faces that I recognize, Mr. Begg over there and Camille, and I just appreciate and value, even I think last night we had to have a TVAC call at this ceremony, but I really appreciate you guys being available and servicing our entire community. Thank you.
Councilman Fedon.
First and foremost, congratulations, Perry. And secondly, thank you for your service. Thank you for all the lives you have touched and saved over the years. And thank you for being a part of our Teaneck family. We appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Congratulations, Perry, and thank you to all the volunteers. Teaneck is fortunate to have one of the busiest all-volunteer ambulance corps in the state, if not the country. And you see they have several ambulances. We cover, or TVAC covers, several towns and during the day, et cetera, when they're needed. So it's not just Teaneck that we help and the residents that we help. So we're fortunate to have all the great men and women of TVAC, great leadership, and congratulations.
I'm going to say a couple of words and then let the last word be with Life member Deputy Mayor Schwartz.
What?
What?
You're going to give me my.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Got it right here.
Yeah. Sure enough. There's nothing better about the spirit of this town than TVAC is. To volunteer the way that you guys do and to be overnight on Saturdays all the time is a testament to your dedication to what you do and how you serve this town. And I know we're saying good things about you, but that goes for every single member of TVAC. You're selfless, you're there, and you care. And as Councilmember Rice mentioned, you were there last night at our ceremony when we needed you right away. So I congratulate you on your years of service and your ability to be there overnight. I don't know how you do it. I just don't know how you do it. And I thank all of you from the bottom of my heart for being there for everybody in our town, because you make this part of the great town that it is. So thank you.
Not only do they do overnights, they do overnights on couches that have seen better decades, not even better years, better decades. I've been on a bunch of calls with Perry. There's no, as you see, he's a man of very few words. But as you see from his call volume, it comes out to 1.5 calls per day. I think I do that in a year, maybe a month. So I obviously you have the town's respect, the town's appreciation. Can I just ask you, Perry, and I don't want to put you on the spot, but I can't see it from here. Any idea how many CPR saves or stork baby deliveries you've had offhand? This is something the president of Oregon's always had me speak about. 20 CPR saves. There's 45 people in this room, maybe not even 20 CPR. 20 people right now are alive. Half the amount of people in this room because hopefully they're still alive because you tried your hard. At one point they're alive, and so those are some stats. And I hope you could continue to serve the township. I hope you could continue to serve in the numbers you are, because I know you're number 7 on the list. I'm hoping you're looking for number 1. Number 2, number 1. That's impossible. 20,000 calls for number 1. 20,000 calls for number 1. Yeah, it's John Peeply. Got it. 10,000 calls. So I thank you very much. Yes. Anthony Verley's 3. Larry Robertson. These are new names we're throwing out there that have done, combined more calls than we have residents in town. So you're in a really great company, and we're really great to be in your company. So I thank you, and I look forward to seeing you on many, many more calls.
All right. Thank you very much. We'll give them a moment to clean out. Okay, moving on, work session items, miscellaneous. Old business. New business. Yes.
2 things for new business. One, I was reached out to several times by Batya Lampert. She's a resident that wants to join the Teterboro Aircraft Noise Abatement Advisory Committee. If there's, as council may remember, this is a committee that has gone vacant for quite some time. She's quite motivated and would like to represent Teaneck in reducing the noise pollution from airplanes from Teterboro. If council has no objection, I'd like to nominate her for the TANAAC position.
It's been seconded, nomination.
I believe she had sent her info over to you, John, or Bill, but I'll make sure you have it for the next meeting. The other question I had, and it's really a choice of council, I noticed that ordinance 29-2022, which changes the liquor license fees from $3,000 to $2,500 in order to reflect the state statutory requirement. It must be $2,500 at the end of the day. But we are introducing the codification ordinance. In the codification ordinance, when General Code went through everything, they too caught that it needed to be $2,500. So it does change that way as well. So either we can strip it out of the codification, or we can just get rid of 29-2022 instead of passing it tonight. And correct me if I'm wrong, Doug, we save about $46 in publication.
Yeah, that's about an accurate price point. I would have to defer to John Shagan on the recommendation there.
So anybody want to get rid of 29-2022?
Good.
I just have a question. With regard to that ordinance, the original ordinance 1-2018, which we adopted back on January 30th, how did we miss that and allow 3,000 when it should have only been 2,500 to begin with?
That was back in 2018. That was January 1, 2018, just for clarification.
Well, the date says it was adopted on January 30th, 2018.
January 30th, sorry about that.
So I was just curious as again, we're amending that ordinance, which we did erroneously, apparently, because we put it at 3,000 and it should have, to your point, only been 25.
I didn't say we did it erroneously. I don't know what the rules were when
Oh, so
one
the-
dash
so the
twenty
state-
eighteen was passed. What I know is what the rules are now. The reason we're doing codification, Councilwoman Rice, is that the state does tend to change rules over time. And a random ordinance change happened to be, a resident called me and said, my neighbor doesn't have a fence around their swimming pool and the code says you need to. Well, the state changed the rules sometime, after we had passed ours, and now ours is dead letter law. So we had to change it to make up at the time.
Oh, so
I-
thanks for letting me know. That's the reason why the state changed the law. So that's why we're changing the ordinance.
I don't know what the law was at the time one twenty eighteen passed. Now, I wasn't on council when one twenty eighteen passed. You were. I don't know if you reviewed. what the
Yes, I
state's-
was. So I don't even know why you're answering the question if you weren't even here.
Right. So the question is, did you review it, compare it to state statute, and can you answer that for us?
Well, that's not I'm not the attorney. Why would I be answering that question? And you proceeded to answer the question and you weren't even here. So I was actually asking the attorney or the clerk or someone else, when we did pass this particular ordinance, and which we are now rectifying it because it says the cap was at $2,500. My simple question was, how were we allowed to permit that to happen? If what it says here is we're amending it. A review of this reveals that the fees for plenary retail consumption were in excess of that which was permitted pursuant to NJSA 13:1 through 12. So if the laws changed, then that was my question.
Councilwoman Rami Rice, Doug, just jumping in real quick. So to my understanding, the license fee has always, for that type of license, has always been $2,500. The clerk's office, well, since that fee was set, I should say, the clerk's office has always charged $2,500. We've never charged $3,000. When I looked back, because again, this was before I was with everybody also in the beginning of 2018, I tried to look back. Our attorneys didn't have a record of the draft ordinance. Not sure who put it forward, that fee change. I couldn't find a record on my end. I think it was just an error. I don't think it was intentional. I think it was an error that was just not enforced because maybe it was realized that was not the price to be charging. Right now, what we're doing is just cleaning up our books to reflect the statute of New Jersey with what they set for the license fees. So this was an error back then. Who did the error? Not sure.
Thank you, Doug, for that answer. Appreciate that.
No problem.
Okay, so are we entertaining a
So-
motion to strike 29, 22?
I would make a motion to strike 29-2022 as unnecessary.
Second.
Doug, call a roll on that?
Councilwoman Rami, right? That was a first from Councilman Kaplan, second from Councilwoman Organ.
Yes.
Councilwoman Rami Rice,
No, because I feel the record should reflect the change and the original ordinance should be adopted.
Councilman Began,
Yes.
Councilwoman Organ,
Yes.
Councilman Kaplan,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Schwartz,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Katz,
Yes.
Mayor Dunleavy.
Yes.
So just to be clear, we're not considering this with the adoption of ordinances. We are killing it right now.
It will be considered within that's correct, and it will be considered with the recodification, which does this.
Okay, cool. You got it.
Okay. All right, moving on, communications. Committee reports by council liaisons.
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Yep.
Cedar Lane Manager Group will have a meeting tomorrow night. The planning board has not had a meeting since the last council meeting 2 weeks ago due to the holiday. We will have one this coming Thursday. As of now, though, I am not aware of any open agenda items at this moment.
Deputy Mayor?
Just for the committee reports for the Parks Playground Recreation Subcommittee, liaison, could we request that they look at removing the gravel or the wood chips or the tire chips or whatever they are inside the dog park and just leave it as dirt? I think what's happened, and I've gotten several complaints over the years, is that these things are really hurting the dogs and getting it into their paws So maybe we can just go with the ground surface, keep everything else as is.
Maybe, go ahead. Go ahead.
So before the gravel was put down, the PPRAB, which I had served on at the time, reached out to several of the local vets, and they had said that the best thing to do was also the most expensive artificial turf. But after that, it was a specific type of gravel. Initially, we did not have that type of gravel, but the manager did procure it later on, which is a pea stone. And that was, what the vets had said was the second best option. I'm at the dog park roughly every week, and I had not heard anybody there complaining. But if anyone is complaining, I'm certainly happy to reach out to the vets again and, share whatever comments they have with council.
Councilmember Organ?
My dog hates it. We go to Ridgewood and we go to Overpeck.
Lodge that as a complaint.
What,
Your dog hates me
Leo
also.
hates it.
what is the surface at the, I don't have a dog, but what is the surface at the dog park over at Overpeck?
I think it's just dirt.
It gets money.
The nice Okay.
thing about dog park is it never flows.
Okay, well, I mean, I can bring this to PPRAB, but I think they don't meet until September. So maybe Dean, you and I can have a discussion offline and see what we can come up with. Cat. I don't have to walk cats. All right, any other committee reports from council liaisons?
Yes,
Yes.
community relations, just to remind the community members to save the date for the new residents event, which will be held on the 20th of October 22. They were scheduled to have their meeting last night, but postponed it due to the street naming event.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, just briefly, the Historic Preservation Commission had met in order to have training that went swimmingly, and they are now quite trained. The Environmental Commission was not able to meet. The library is working on several new initiatives, and their newsletter just came out, and the Friends of the Library always encourage people to join. The Board of Education now has the new interim superintendent. They're currently in process of obtaining a permanent superintendent, which should be done at some point. I believe process finishes in mid-October, approaching first week in November. And there was a temporary seat filled by Mr. Cooper, Trustee Cooper, who had resigned, which will leave 5 seats on the election coming up, 3 regular and 2 holdover positions from the 2020 election.
Okay. Any other reports from council liaisons? Okay. Council listed items, we have none. Township managers report.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a quick COVID update. We're up 114 cases from the last report, and that's of July 8th, 10,739 cases. We sustained 2 additional deaths, so we're up to 147 right now. Holy Name continues to offer the vaccine to those ages 5 and up at their 3 different locations. There's the Teaneck Hackensack location at FDU. You have the Oradell location in West New York, and they're going to begin administering the vaccine to those under 5 years of age very soon. Getting on to some project updates, I encourage everyone to monitor the town's website for a road resurfacing project. The 2021 road resurfacing project is underway. We've resurfaced 10 streets already, another 4 underway this week. We're going to do about 32 of them in total, so that project will be going on probably sometime into the fall. Save the date, September 22nd. I've made arrangements with Frank Piazza. He's the township's affordable housing administrator, and he's going to give a seminar and provide information on affordable housing to include eligibility and instructions on how to file your application. So again, that's September 22nd at 7 p.m. and it's going to be done by the GoToMeeting platform, which will be able to accommodate 500 people. So looking forward to that. I'll put out some more information as we get closer to the date. I reached out to the new school superintendent, Barbara Pinsack, and I've been in touch with her secretary, Linda Coran. We're going to set a meeting very soon to discuss various topics, including school security. So I will let the council know when that meeting is going to take place. Work on Garden Street as part of the CDBG project is underway. That should be completed in about 2 to 3 weeks. Columbus Drive is also another grant project for street improvements. That's going to commence this month as well. We're going to be going out for bid very soon for the Court Street project. Probably at the next council meeting, I will have to introduce an ordinance that will make Court Street one-way traffic. Of course, it's going to take about a month and a half before that all goes through, but it'll be a nice setup. One-way traffic going west. We'll also put a dual charging station in the parking lot as well. Alfred Avenue project, it's going to go out to bid on August 2nd. And I'm sorry, we're going to accept bids on August 2nd. And then on August 9th, we're going to award the contract. So the entire length of Alfred Avenue will be done, milled to paved. The old dugouts, the slabs of OT, some of the OT Park fields, going to be removed this coming week. The new dugouts that we ordered, the lean-to dugouts, will be delivered in about 2 weeks, and that'll replace some of the ones that are in very poor condition. The band shell demolition is going to take place this month, and we expect delivery of the new band shell sometime in August. So I will let everyone know the exact date when the band shell is going down. I do have professional photos from when the artwork was done. So we will all have Ray Turkin take care of some professional pictures. So we have that in our archives, and we also provide the library with some of those pictures as well. The Teaneck Park playground equipment, I again apologize. Most of it was delivered last week. We're waiting on, they call them wing clamping units. They cannot put the equipment together until those clamping units are in place or delivered to us. We were told they're being shipped. They were shipped today. Once they're received, the contractor said he will assemble the equipment, and that will be followed by the poured in place surface at Teaneck Park. So we're probably still another 2 weeks away before all work is done. Again, not our fault. It's just the manufacturer and the delays with shipping. Phelps Park bathroom will officially open tomorrow. I was anticipating today, but we found some minor corrections we have to make that DPW will take care of. So tomorrow we'll have the official opening sometime in the afternoon. We're going to be installing a new water fountain and bottle filling station in the hallway here. We've had that old water fountain for probably 3 or 4 decades. That's going to be replaced soon. And then we also ordered that second sliding door that leads into the tax office. It's going to make it a lot easier for people that are disabled to enter our building. So I'm looking forward to that as well. National Night Out, also save that date. That's taking place on August 2nd in Boaty Park between the hours of 5 and 9 p.m. Again, that's August 2nd, 5 to 9 p.m. in Boaty Park. And this is a way for the residents to engage with law enforcement. And again, it's a very successful night, has been for many years. It's going to be very robust this year compared to last year. And we basically finished the cleaning and the dredging of the creek along Palisade Avenue. Came out very nice. Public Works and the contractor did a nice job. They did find a bunch of old telephone poles that do belong probably to Conrail originally. And we've been in touch with CSX to have them remove them. We spent quite a bit of money doing this. I've been working with the good congressman's office to put some pressure on CSX to reimburse the township. So I'm hoping that takes place. I spoke to actually the congressman today about it as well, and they'll do their best in securing monies for us from CSX. I'll be in touch with the Penn Avenue residents very soon. We're going to plant about 50 trees. That's going to be a combination of ginkgos and lilacs on that street. It's going to look beautiful. We'll give the residents the option of a tree planting, so letters will go out. And once we have all the letters back, we'll have to go out to bid for this project as well. So we'll probably order roughly about 75, 80 trees in total, 50 for Penn Avenue, and then there's another 25, 30 around town that we had promised residents to do some tree planting. So that will be done in late fall, the planting. I appointed Markian Zonarovich to the position of police officer. Family is from the Ukraine. Keith, you gonna correct me? The Ukraine? Good. All right. He's the fourth alternate route candidate that we've hired this year for the police department, which is great news. The second quarterly newsletter went out on July 1st. Hopefully everyone enjoyed that. Want to thank John McGilchrist for his efforts and the Teaneck Patriotic Advisory Board for another successful July 4th parade. We're also having, for the first time in many years, a bicycle auction. We have about, working with our deputy manager, Tom Rowan, we have roughly 60 bicycles that we're going to be auctioning off. Some are in very good shape, and that's going to be done in the municipal parking lot on Friday, August 5th at 10 a.m. There'll be a 1-hour viewing period, and then we'll have the actual auction. More information will follow as we get a little bit closer to that date. We posted most of the park mobile signs in our 4-meter lots. We're still going to have to put in some additional signage. It can be kind of confusing. I was down at Phelps Park today. There's some other things we have to do, some additional signing, but the plan is to go live on August 1st. The town, we also took in close to 30,000 after auctioning off some old equipment on municipal. That included 2 or 3 old fire trucks and some other municipal equipment. And that brought in, again, roughly 30,000. Sorgay completed their preliminary assessments on the 3 designated properties for the diversion project. And those 3 properties were 1603 Owsley Ford, 75 Bedford, and 661 Romer. I'm waiting for the final report. There were no issues with Sorgay with their soil samples. And when we receive those reports, the final reports, I have to forward them to Green Acres. Again, this is just a way that will allow us to secure that money that's pending. So it's not only the assessments, it's the deed restrictions, valuations of the property. So it's a lot that goes into this, but we're almost there. And this is, I think, the last piece of the puzzle that Green Acres needs. Also very important, on Friday at 2 p.m., we're going to be testing our emergency alert system. So I try to do this on a yearly basis just to make sure the system is working correctly. So it's going to be this Friday at 2 o'clock. I'm going to be putting out some more information to the public on Thursday. As a reminder, you're going to hear for a period of about 10 minutes, sirens going off. That will be followed by pre-recorded messages just to make sure the system is up and running. So please do not be alarmed. And also on this coming Monday, we're going to have a large crane in municipal parking lot. We're going to have to close down the Cedar Lane entrance to the municipal parking lot. The crane will be removing the 2 HVAC units on top of the municipal building, and they will replace them with 2 new units. So that will take place Monday and probably go into Tuesday as well. That's it.
Mr. Mayor,
Any questions? Go ahead.
2 questions for the manager. The property that was dredged, was that the township's property?
Well, according to the maps we found online, it looks like CSX goes almost to the curb line. They say differently, but again,
What do they say?
they say their property goes, what is it? Was it 10 feet, Tom? I remember 10 feet from the
outermost rail.
Yeah, from the outermost rail. So
So
the
can I,
maps we looked at go almost to the curb line.
so can I ask, can we maybe take advantage of this misinformation or misunderstanding and look to see if there's any additional parking that can be inserted along that area? I mean, I'm not saying we're going to do the parking, but at least start the process of addressing to see, going from the lot across from Rhoda, how wide it would be based on the fact that they've just gifted us X amount of property, to see if we could possibly add more parking spots for the Voti Park and Rhoda Center.
Did the dredging go all the way down to that parking lot?
It went from Port Street to almost West Anglewood Avenue.
Okay.
That's
Is
where. it
that,
went
is that
to.
okay? Just
We certainly
just a
can ask.
research, not a,
I mean, if it's determined to be their property, I don't think
we
they're gonna,
agree that it's not their property.
Yeah. So I will certainly check, Deputy Mayor.
Okay. And I had a second question. Is there an action item for the alerts? I know that this alert, there's no action item because it's just a test. But I mean, are we also putting out, like, saying that if you should hear this when it's not Friday at 2 o'clock or 1 o'clock during a test, you should do ABC? Or it's
That'll
just a voice?
Yeah, that'll be part of my press release for Thursday. That'll
Of
be
what
incorporated in.
what each tone means?
Yeah, we have probably about 8 different tones for various hurricane warning, tornado warning, power outage. There's about 7 or 8 of them in total.
Okay.
So I will make a point on Thursday when I do send this out to the residents, just to let them know. Again, there's different sirens and there's different canned messages, and we also have the ability of grabbing the microphone and just speaking over the microphone as well if we had to.
Tina, if there's any way you can put that warning out 2 to 3 times, maybe later Wednesday, all day Thursday, and once again Friday morning.
I'm going to do a robocall, Mayor.
Yeah.
So it will go out to all the businesses and all the homes in Teaneck,
Okay.
reverse 911, so that they know when they're not
Okay.
alarmed. We also have to notify the surrounding municipalities and police departments as well.
Okay. Any other questions of the manager? Yeah, go ahead.
On a regular basis, or this is just a test now? Is it something that we would be doing quarterly or
Well, we do it yearly. We like to do it
just
yearly.
once a year?
Yes, yep.
Else? All right, very good. All right, formal meeting items, public hearing and adoption of ordinances. Clerk, if you could read the ordinances, please.
Absolutely, Mayor. We have a couple ordinances up for adoption this evening. Let's remember ordinance 29, we are not considering. I already noted that on the record, so we will be skipping that one. So up for adoption this evening, we have ordinance number 20-2022, amending section 33-18D of Article 3, site design review, and section 33-24 of Article 5, zoning ordinance of chapter 33, development regulations of the Township Code relating to outdoor cafes and parklets. We have ordinance number 28-2022, amending section 36-11.2 of Division 1 of Article 2 of chapter 36, entitled Traffic of the Township Code, adding restricted on-street parking spaces for the handicap at 659 Ogden Avenue. We have ordinance number 30-2022, amending section 36-11.2 of Division 1 of Article 2 of chapter 36, entitled Traffic of the Township Code, adding restricted on-street parking spaces for the handicap at 886 Alpine Drive. We have ordinance, last but not least, ordinance number 32-2022, amending Article 2 of Chapter 4, alcoholic beverages of the Township Code of the Township of Teaneck, respecting the locational restrictions for the issuance of liquor license. Mayor, those are the ordinances we are considering this evening for second reading and adoption.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Katz.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to request that we table ordinance 20-2022. That I think there's some issues that we need to review before we reintroduce it.
Second.
It's been moved in second to table ordinance number 20-2022. Clerk, can you call the roll, please?
Absolutely. That was a second from Councilman Kaplan, I heard, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, Mike or Keith. Okay.
Councilwoman Rami Rice. Was that a yes, Councilwoman? I
I'm
apologize.
sorry, no.
We're just
32?
talking about we're just right now on the motion to table 20. Then
Okay,
we'll-
I'm sorry. Yes to table.
Yes, the table, Councilman Rice. Councilman Began.
Yes.
Councilwoman Organ.
Yes.
Councilman Kaplan.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Schwartz.
Yes, the table.
Deputy Mayor Katz.
Yes, the table.
Mayor Dunleavy.
Yes, to table.
Did we have a date that we wanted to table this with, or I will hear from the zoning subcommittee?
Yeah.
You got it. Thank
To
you.
number 2. Okay. All right. Councilmember Rice, you had a,
Yes, a question on 32. Just the question regarding, I thought we had this discussion before about issuance of licenses. I guess perhaps it came up as a variance, and now I guess we're putting it into an ordinance about the distance from other licensed premises. Just was curious as the impetus for this request.
Mr. Mayor, if you
ordinance.
want, I can.
Deputy Mayor Katz.
Yeah, so this came up because we've gotten several requests for waivers of distance for liquor licenses. And over the years, we have always granted those requests. Recently, I think there was, there was a club on, not a club, a jazz club, is that what?
Yeah.
On Cedar Lane that was looking to get a liquor license, and it was a certain distance from across the street. I know Tuscany on Cedar Lane had the same issue with whatever rain was before. Maybe it was Geronimo. I know it was Geronimo was at one point, but I don't know what was in between. So that, as a result, we just felt that, let's keep to whatever the state guidelines are and remove this township owners restrictions.
So now the restrictions would be which the state states, which is what?
Whatever their state
Is that
requirements are.
included in here?
7, I think it's, I think the state statute, quiz me, John Shadanian, I think it's, or Deputy Clerk Denorcha, she's there too. I think that the state requirement is 750 feet. I can't recall off the top of my head, but there are state requirements, like you can't be near a church, you can't be near a school, and then there is a,
And those are still in there.
yeah, that will always be in there, yeah.
And the only things that were changed were the ones that we were permitted to change for the township to the minimal distance. For business to business, essentially. And
So-
can I just interrupt that procedurally, these ordinances were.
John, can you put the mic on? I'm not sure.
It's on, actually,
Is
Mayor,
it?
sorry,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Procedurally, these ordinances were, I believe, listed, so was there a motion to introduce them, and you're supposed to have the second, then have the public hearing, and then the council comments. Just
Well,
for
just-
purposes of procedure. the
I
questions are supposed to come
appreciate that,
to
but
the
prior
council
to
at the end.
even voting on it, I just wanted to know if I could get a question of clarity. So thank you. I apparently not.
Okay. Anybody else have any comments related to? Okay, then I'm gonna open up the public hearing.
Have
Go
they
ahead.
been moved
I'll move
for
it.
adoption? So we know which ones they are.
Oh. The titles have been read. It's now open without, if your comments are over, it's now open for the public. And then we will move them, okay? All right, so we will open the meeting for a public hearing on ordinances number 20, 2022, 28, 2022, 30, 2022, and 32, 2022. I'm sorry, not 20, 2022. I forgot that one. Let me go back. The discussion will be on ordinance 28, 2022, 30, 2022, and 32, 2022. Does anybody want to discuss any of those? Again, this is just for these ordinances. You'll have time during good and welfare for any other issue you may want to speak to. You'll have 3 minutes right now to speak to any one of these ordinances.
I'm not seeing any hands on Zoom, Mayor.
And I see no one here, so I will close the hearing. And I will ask for a motion to move.
Second.
Motion Schwartz on 28, 30, and 32.
And Councilman Pagan seconds.
No,
Roll clerk, please.
absolutely. Councilwoman Rami Rice,
No,
Councilman Bagan,
Yes.
Councilwoman Oregon,
Yes.
Councilman Kaplan,
Yes to the handicap parking spots, yes to the handicap parking spot, and yes to the liquor license.
sorry, did you vote no on something?
Yeah, yes to all. I was just going through them to make sure I got the right ones.
Sorry. Sorry, Deputy Mayor Schwartz,
Yes on all.
Deputy Mayor Katz,
Yes.
Mayor Dunleavy.
Yes.
All right, adopted, notices going out.
All right. So at this point, we will open up the meeting for good and welfare on any matter that the public wants to bring before us. A reminder, you have 3 minutes. And the way we'll handle this is that we will go one person here in chamber, then one person on Zoom, and we'll go back and forth, okay? As you know, Doug is remote, so just give us a little bit more time. All right, I'll take the first person who wants to speak here in council chambers. You wish to speak? Come on up.
Thank you, Mayor. And again, members of the public in person, please just state your name into the record clearly and slowly for me, please. I greatly appreciate you.
Doug, we have someone here. Please state your name and the town that you're from.
How you doing? My name is John Collins. I am the operations manager at Cannabis C4, which is Culture Craft Cannabis Collective, which we were granted our license for manufacturing here in the town. I just have two quick questions. I want to know if you guys are opening any new areas for for manufacturing, because we're having a little problem with the area that you guys allotted, which is on Alfred Street. But, I'll talk about that a little later. And my second question would be, would there be a possibility of any businesses like manufacturing with no smell, no sales, or no impact on the town, and not in any park or school areas, would like suitable away from any school areas? Would there be any openings of any zones of that nature?
We can't answer that.
We can't speak right now. We'll take all the questions and then we'll speak after that.
Okay, thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
All right,
Thank you.
Doug, anybody on Zoom?
Yes, Mayor, I am bringing in Miss Janae Nurse Guilford. Janae, whenever you're ready, you're free to unmute. Share your camera with us if you'd like.
I'm sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, I could hear you, Janae. Great to hear from you.
Okay.
Yes, my friend.
Thank you so much. I wanted to extend my sincerest gratitude to the entire council for their contribution to Mrs. Theodora Lacey's renaming ceremony that took place yesterday. Doug, Dean, Jervon, especially Mayor Dunleavy, I really appreciate all of your contributions to making the renaming ceremony a success. The township really showed out and came out very strongly for Mrs. Lacey to honor all of the contributions that she's made to Teaneck and to America. And thank you so much for just all of your assistance with honoring her in such a wonderful way last evening.
Thank you, Janae. Was that all? You still have 2 minutes.
That's all. I'm driving, and so I want to be safe, but thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Janae. Please drive safely. Always great to hear from you. Let us know if you need anything.
Okay, thank you. Have a good evening, everyone. Bye-bye.
Sorry I wasn't there.
Okay, we'll have next person who wishes to speak from chambers. Please address
Yes,
the
I speak
council.
to everyone. My name is Dion Kakuda, and I'm the founder of the Disabled Combat Veterans Youth Program based in Teaneck. I'm the food guy. I'm the guy that's been distributing food since the pandemic over in Englewood. And I'm gladly to say that 25%, you probably don't know this, 25% of my volunteers are from Teaneck. I have not seen anybody come by to see how we do. We've done over 4.5 million meals, over 60,000 families just in the county. I've been awarded top award from the Rusberry Foundation last year. The Points of Light, President Barack Obama, George Bush, Bill Clinton, Jimmy Carter, they're on the board. And I want it back to back. gracefully God's work. I've also got the Jefferson Award from the governor and the assemblymen and senators. I was featured on the Today Show, okay? Representing Teaneck, Inglewood, Bergen County, in the state of New Jersey, top 10 in the world. And I just want to let you know, I just want to introduce myself because I've never had the opportunity to see anyone and just look you in the eyes and let you know that we're here and we're continuing to do this. Now, another thing you probably don't know, since 2020, we service the Board of Ed over 800 meals every Tuesdays for the kids. In addition to that, we did the special needs, about 100 of them with Dan Guerrero, Rick McKay, Gila Comet. Those folks brung Teaneck to the equation. You guys don't know that. My question is, why you don't know that? It's been aired all over the world. You know, I like to really introduce myself, but just let you know that I'm here for the community. And there's more that's got to be done. You think it's bad now? The research and the results that I've received through the donors, the state and the federal government, next year, it's going to be worse. The food shortage is definitely going to be worse. And the farmers are going to go through the world trying to get this thing done. So prepare yourself for turbulence, because it's going to be a long, hectic ride. To the police officers, great job. You guys are by my house all the time. I see what y'all doing. Thank you so much. It's very important. City Council, God bless you guys. And I'm just a phone call away. I'm right around the corner. So, you know, from time to time, just come over and check us out in Inglewood, First Baptist Church. It's okay. I know it's not Teaneck, but I'm representing Teaneck. Okay, you've called me once before, Mr. Katz, I believe it was, and never got a chance to really sit down because I'm very busy.
Sir,
Yes.
your 3 minutes are up. Thank you. Appreciate
Thank you.
it.
Have a great day. God bless you.
And if you could
Yes,
send
sir.
what information you have about your organization to the township manager so it could be distributed to the council.
Yeah, the whole town knows.
I've been posting about his organization on Facebook for a couple of years. I can forward it over to you.
And I stopped by your house.
All right, guys.
Okay.
Come check out what we're doing. Feed our community.
Thank you.
God bless you.
Clerk?
Mayor, right now, I'm not seeing any hands in Zoom.
Okay. I'll take another one from the chamber in the back.
Alan Sohn, Teaneck resident. I'll take appointed privilege to speak for 5 to 15 minutes about the brazen violation of the Open Public Meetings Act we saw 2 weeks ago. Ordinance 22 was an attempt to remove the taint of corruption from Mr. Schwartz's involvement in previous Ordinance 9. Because the Good Neighbors petition was accepted, the ordinance needed yes votes from all 5 of those eligible to vote due to recusals from Ms. Organ and Mr. Schwartz. After hearing that Councilwoman Romney Rice planned to abstain, Deputy Mayor Katz knew that all he was about to get was going to be lost. He went into action. He walked over to Ms. Romney Rice to try to pressure her to change her vote. When that failed, Mr. Katz whispered into Mayor Dunleavy's ear and told him to call a recess. Seconds later, Dunleavy did as he was told. Councilman Romney Rice walked off the dais and was joined by Deputy Mayor Katz, Mayor Dunleavy, and Councilmember Pagan, 4 members who all walked together into the back room. We've seen, as we have this evening, the abuse that Jervon regularly receives in public. I can't even imagine the way that Councilwoman Romney Rice was worked over in the back room. I can't imagine the threats that were made against her, her family, her reputation, and her supporters. What I do know for sure is that the recess was called in an effort to change her vote and to do so illegally and outside of public view. 4 council members left the dais and went into that back room. And when the meeting was reconvened, the mayor announced the deal that had been reached behind the scenes with no public view. When the roll was called, the vote was changed. I saw, as other residents did, the arm twisting that took place in the back room. I saw Township Attorney Shadanian rush past and through the crowd in the hallway so that he could have an emergency discussion with Deputy Mayor Schwartz. I saw all sorts of discussions with representatives of Holy Name in the vestibule. Everyone was part of this corrupt deal except for the neighbors who were blindsided by the mayor. For all the claims that council members that there were no discussions during the recess, there were dozens of people who saw what happened, who saw and took on the official video, who took photographs. It was all caught on surveillance cameras all over this floor of the building, which the township has refused to turn over as requested. The Open Public Meetings Act is clear. The right of the public to be present at all meetings and to witness in full detail all phases of the deliberation, policy formulation, and decision-making of public bodies is vital to the enhancement and proper functioning of the democratic process. Council and council, you know what happened. You all know that the Open Public Meetings Act was violated. You know the remedy. Reintroduce the ordinance. Do it right. Do it legally. For once, at least get this right. Thank you.
Clerk, is there still anybody on Zoom?
Yes, I have two hands. I'll bring someone in right now. I am bringing in Chuck Powers.
Good evening, Council. I'd like to support what Mr. Stone just had to say about the process that you folks engaged in last week. I've actually produced the 29 minutes in which what Mr. Stone just talked about is on YouTube, and it's worth watching for anybody who doubts what was just articulated. Tonight on the agenda is first a resolution 211 declaring the State Street area as an area of in need of redevelopment. We'd heard last week some of the sort of an inability of the township planner to actually explain some of what he said were qualifying factors that made several of the apartments in need of redevelopment. We're also going to be introducing tonight an ordinance adopting a redevelopment plan for 359 Alfred Avenue. And the purpose of this redevelopment plan, I read from Mr. Keenan Hughes' investigative report. The purpose of this redevelopment plan is to encourage the redevelopment of a habitually vacant and obsolete commercial property into a high-quality residential property that brings activity and energy to that part of Teaneck. The problem is that this is not habitually vacant property. There has been, since 1952, a business conducting a legitimate business on something that the master plan calls extremely important, which is for the further development of light industrial and similar commercial activities to take some of the pressure off the residential. And so what we're doing, and I promise you that when this new plan for this additional residential property comes along, that the unnamed developer who actually has produced this document that Mr. Keenan has signed, that I promise you that that developer will be back asking to be a pilot as his predecessor was at 329, which means that all the arguments about how much having large multifamily residential neighborhoods is going to change and allow the town much more in terms of ratables will be swept aside by the grant given by this council as this plan moves. Thank you.
Your 3 minutes are up.
Thank you, Dr. Powers. 3 minutes were up. Mayor, your turn.
Okay, we have another person in the chamber.
Hi. Oh, good. It's very loud. Sorry. Hillary Goldberg, Teaneck. Thousands of Teaneck seniors have spent their entire lives contributing to our township. They sent their kids to our schools, spent money in our businesses, paid their hard-earned tax dollars into our township, and now want to enjoy their retirement in Teaneck. Seniors were our hardest hit population during the COVID pandemic, and we are grateful for the healthcare workers, the essential workers, vaccines, masks, and science. However, as we all begin to resume our new sense of normalcy, how does that look for our senior population? The issues that affect our seniors are critical, and we owe it to our seniors to support them now in areas such as nutrition, medical services, transportation services, affordable housing to allow them to age in place, and to provide opportunities for socialization and community involvement. Our senior center currently allows seniors to take 2 classes, and per Rota Center policy, unless there is someone there to unlock a door upstairs, seniors cannot enjoy their senior center, or as we are in summer, their air-conditioned recreation. Prior to COVID, seniors were also provided with lunch, which has also not been resumed. Teaneck does a lot of things really well, but this is an opportunity for us to do better. It is always encouraging to look at our surrounding towns to see what they are doing and how we can improve, and in turn, they will look to Teaneck to set an example in other areas where we excel, such as parks and recreations for our youth. And looking at our surrounding towns, some of them have never stopped giving their seniors lunch, even during the height of the pandemic. Fort Lee, Bergenfield, Tenafly, New Milford have been doing grab and go meals for their seniors, even doing delivery for those homebound. They are also resuming day trips for them to places such as Asbury Park, Broadway shows, trips to the Sculpture Garden. New Milford has even resumed their lunch bunch, where a small group of seniors get together once a week to enjoy an area restaurant. These activities not only provide nutrition, but also important socialization and a sense of belonging to our community. I understand and appreciate that our Senior Services and Recreation Department is taking COVID very seriously. Their diligence to protect this hard-hit population is commendable. We must, however, find a way to meet the balance of their health and safety, as well as allowing them to resume their regular lives as so many of the rest of us have. Seniors can continue to wear masks, provide proof of vaccination and boosters in order to participate in township-provided activities, but to shut them out completely while the rest of the world moves forward only furthers the deep sense of isolation and loss of services they have experienced for the last 2 years. What can we do as a township to allow them to benefit from the services that the township has provided them for so many years? I ask that the Senior Services Advisory Liaison speak with the seniors as I have, and to assist in facilitating a reasonable solution to resume a sense of normalcy for our seniors. Maybe lunch to start. Thank you.
Anyone on the Zoom, Doug?
Yes, I am bringing in Sebastian. Sebastian, when you get in, please state your name for the record. I'll start your clock.
Hello, can you hear me okay?
You're a little quiet, my friend. Just be clear and I'll pay attention. You have 3 minutes.
All right, I'll speak up a little bit.
Thanks, Sebastian.
How you doing? I'm just, I have a slight injury, so I couldn't make it in person. But thank you for the time. I just wanted to come in and check in with the township. As many people have known, I've been at previous meetings in regards to being one of the first 11 people in the state who holds a cannabis dispensary license. And as it were, we have been kind of scheduled and set up to work within the township of Teaneck to get a location. So, you know, I've been working with the town council regularly, so I'm not really here to say much of to ask for anything, but kind of to give a little bit of an update. You know, there's an area in town that has been designated as the cannabis area, which is Alfred Ave, and to this point, there really is no real availability to make this happen on Alfred Ave. So I'm at a point where we are, you know, passionately trying to work with the township to consider alternate locations. And I just wanted to let everybody know that we are actively doing this and looking at every possible suitable alternative location wherever possible. And just want to encourage the town council to continue to work with me and my team to see if we can come to an agreement or come to find suitable locations, and wherever possible to grant us some sort of formalized meeting in order to make these plans a little bit more cogent, and to see if we can actually come up with a location where we can do retail cannabis here in Teaneck in a way that works for everybody. So I didn't really come to ask of anything, just to kind of give a brief update that we really are trying to work with the council and the town to find a suitable location. The original location on Alfred Ave doesn't look like it's totally panning out. So the continued support of the town council and the township at large is greatly appreciated. And if and wherever possible, there is an opportunity to maybe engage the town or some of its members in a conversation or put together more formalized meetings regarding this topic, we very much happily encourage the township to take steps towards that. And we would love to participate and provide more information to our neighbors wherever possible. Thank you very much, and I yield the rest of my time. I hope you have a great night.
Thank you, Sebastian. Your time is banked. Be safe out there.
You too.
All right, I think I saw a hand up here first and then.
Hi, thank you. Robert Tuck, 525 Maple Avenue. I spoke with Mr. Ruscioni this
I'm
afternoon.
sorry, can you redo your name again, sir?
You can hear?
Back up just a little bit, Mr. Tuck.
Can you restate your name, sir?
Yes, Robert Tuck, 525 Maple Avenue.
Mr. Tuck, just back up from the microphone a hair for me, please. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. I spoke with Mr. Ruscioni this afternoon. He told me this would be the place to take my case. I'm a member of the Bicycle Touring Club. First, I would like to thank you for taking the time to listen to me. I'm a member of the Bicycle Touring Club of North Jersey. We like to ride our bicycles, and bicycling is dangerous. There were 23 fatalities last year in New Jersey, 219 pedestrian fatalities, accounting for 1/3 of all traffic fatalities in the state, higher than it's been in 32 years. New Jersey recently passed a safe passing law that few people know about. And members of the club are going to our respective towns in the hopes that they can make the public aware of it through signage or whatever way you might see fit. The law requires that you maintain a distance of 4 feet between yourself, pedestrians, and motors or bicycles or joggers. This is a, can I show this, sir? This is a bumper sticker that we created. This is a full outline of the law. Perhaps it'll give you an idea of what we're looking to do. That's all I have to say. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
I'll take that back when you're done, sir.
Everybody want to see it first?
Thank you, Mr. Tuck.
All right. Anybody on Zoom, clerk?
Yes, I do have one hand here. I will bring in Miss Margaret Baker. Excuse me, sorry. Miss Baker, whenever you're ready, please accept the promotion. Feel free to unmute. Miss Baker, whenever you are ready. Miss Baker, you are free to unmute.
Hello?
Hey, Miss Baker, I could hear you. You have 3 minutes.
Okay, I'm calling again. And I'm calling for the same problem or issue. Lack of communication from the council in regards to the building that you want to put up out here. You say Alfred Avenue. Yes, it is Alfred Avenue, but it also includes Decatur. I haven't had one bit of communication from the council. The lot is empty. The grass is growing. And by the way, I did call the developer to come and cut the grass. And his response to me was, why? Because it needs cutting. It was a residential area and it didn't look like it's looking now. It should have remained a residential area. But no, you wanted to put up the big building. Well, you come out here and you take care of the property the way it was taken care of by the resident. They did come out and cut the grass. And I don't know what the issue is going to be with 359, but you don't need anything else out here. We have road rage, we have accidents, and you're going to bring a building out here with 400 parking spaces under there. Well, I don't know where the engineer went to school, but he needs to come back out here again, and the traffic patrol. I don't understand why I can't get any communication from the council. I have gone to meetings and expressed my concerns. I've asked questions, and all of you sit up there with your mouths closed. Not one word. But when you have other residents talking about other issues, you all chime in and have something to say about that particular issue. Why can't you answer me? I'm a resident. I am somebody. And by the way, I called the Attorney General for the state of New Jersey because there's
Ms. Baker,
definitely something.
Ms. Baker, your time is up. Thank you. Anyone else in chamber? No.
Good evening, Howard Rose. Microphones, always a topic for me, especially tonight. I'm having a problem with the idea that council has microphonia, fear of microphones. Sometimes they're 2 and 3 feet away from you, and then when you finish speaking, you push them even further back. I would assume that if you have some point to make, that you would want to be heard. So I hope that's what happens in the future. Question to our manager. You said ginkgo tree, and I'm wondering if those are the trees that have those little golf-sized seedlings that have points on them. I hope not. At any rate, maybe you'll mention if they are or aren't. And regarding your town alarm, after the siren goes on, it's going to be a message. I hope part of that message is that this is a test procedure and not the real thing, and don't have the students sit under their desk, you know, that kind of stuff. Regarding item number 2022. I wish it could have been discussed because there's a lot of questions that come up, and I wish it was a public situation where it was discussed. I'm wondering if these areas can be anywhere in town that has a restaurant. Does that include Cedar Lane and DeGraw and Teaneck Road, or is it just the State Street, Queen Anne Road area? And who has say in whether it's approved or not approved? What if merchants nearby don't want it to happen because it's a loss of parking spaces? I don't know who makes the selection, who gives the approval, and what the criteria is, because I read through that document and I didn't see too much alluding to how it's done as opposed to the configuration of how it's done. You're going to be talking in terms of ordinances that are, again, large development. Now, I understand the concept of large development and ratables and things like that. And what I'm concerned about is when I hear the idea that Hackensack Englewood so far advanced in this area compared to Teaneck. And I'm thinking, I'm not sure that those are the areas that Teaneck residents, for the most part, want to emulate. We can't go back to the nostalgic past, but we should try and preserve the present so that we have a better future. Pretty simple concept. I hope you consider it. Thank you very much.
Clerk, is there anyone on the Zoom?
Yes, I have Miss Denise Belcher. I'll bring her in right now. Ms. Belcher, feel free to unmute whenever you are ready.
Thank you. Good evening. Teaneck residents watched in disbelief this last council meeting as our township leadership kind of felt necessary to take the meeting outside the chamber into a closed door back room. It is so disheartening to have seen that inappropriate behavior. It actually became less about the vote, but more about the process. One thing is certain, Teaneck residents witnessed a violation of the Open Public Meeting Act played out real time and on Zoom. After resuming the meeting, the mayor asked Holy Name Hospital representative and the neighborhood friends to agree to continue negotiations to reach a mutual understanding without even knowing if the voting process would occur or be held. Each party blindly agreed to continue negotiating. According to the Open Public Meetings Act, any business conducted during a closed door meeting like the one that occurred is avoidable. It must be rescinded if the closed meeting held outside of the chambers is not one of the 9 possible subject areas. These exemptions make it permissible for a public body to close a portion of the meeting. They do not require it or do so. And to close the session, a public body must identify the exemption justifying closure and adopt a resolution to the end at an end meeting for which a public notice has been given. And public bodies must keep minutes of their closed sessions. Even though these minutes are not immediately available, they do become available at some point in the future. The bottom line is that the public is entitled to know the reason for a closed meeting. We are taxpayers in this town. We deserve to know what our leadership is doing. And the public requires an explanation of what was discussed during this approximate 15 minutes when the council held a closed session during a public meeting. So I implored the leadership of our township to be more transparent in the means by which they handle public affairs, because taxpayers want to know and the people of our community deserve to know. Not only Holy Name Hospital, but also the good neighbors. You have an obligation to all of our citizens to be transparent, you work in integrity, and to disclose what you're doing in closed door meetings. And I ask that you do the right thing and rescind that vote, consider it voided, and do it again. I ask the council to seriously consider this because
Ms.
it's
Belcher,
only the right thing to do. Thank you.
Anyone else in chambers? No. Okay. Anyone else on Zoom? Dean, Doug?
I see no hands on Zoom, Mayor.
All right, then at this point, we will close good and welfare. And I will turn to the council for comments. And I will start tonight to my right, Councilmember Rice.
Thank you, Mayor. As always, to all the residents who exercise their right to free speech and stay abreast of issues that impact our community, including Alan Sohn, Dr. Powers, Howard Rose, and Denise Belcher. Thank you, Mr. Dion Kachuta, for your service to our country and for the great work that you do to address food insecurities here in Bergen County. Thank you, Hillary Goldberg, for addressing and advocating for our seniors. I have a question for the Cannabis Committee. hopefully they can share with us some updates that would help answer Mr. Sebastian Castillo's question. Ms. Baker, just want you to let you know that yes, you are somebody and that we hear you. Thank you, Janae Guilford, for your comments and work with the township on this street dedication, which was a wonderful event that provided the community the privilege and honor of honoring Ms. Theodora Lacey, honoring her for her tireless advocacy against racism of all forms and justice for all. The Teaneck community, as well as the county, owes her a debt of gratitude for her dedication, hard work, and role in branding the diversity that we so proudly proclaim. I am so grateful that the 3rd and 5th grade group of the Bergen County Passaic chapter of the Jack and Jill of America Incorporated were the ones to bring this request to the attention of council. It was my pleasure to support this endeavor and would in a heartbeat always be available to the residents to give honor to whom honor is due. While as a council, we still have lots of work to do to address racism, hate, inequities, and exclusion, we need to address this in every area, from governance to every entity that services our municipality. It is my hope that we seek to model and practice diversity, equity, and inclusion, as well as cultural competencies, indeed, and not simply to seek to protect the township from litigation. A special thank you to Layla Guilford and Kyle Farr, who spoke so eloquently, and it was great to see so many community members present and supporting and embodying Ms. Lacey's legacy. This indeed gives us hope for a bright future. That concludes my statement, and I yield my balance of my minutes.
Thank you. Councilmember Pagan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I want to start off by thanking everyone who helped organize the street renaming for Theodora Lacey yesterday. It was a lovely event and duly deserved. And I look forward to the Curtis March Street renaming that we are also working on, and thank his family and friends for emailing us so many letters of support. That is another street renaming that is very well deserved. Also, many thanks to Haveram of Bergen County for inviting us to their cookout this past weekend. I really enjoyed spending time with them and getting to know them better, and it was great seeing our Bergen County Sheriff there as well. During the month of July, we celebrate Colombian independence, and I wanted to remind residents that there will be a Colombian flag raising at 1 Bergen County Plaza on July 19th at 5:30 p.m. And the annual Colombian Independence Day Festival will be taking place at the amphitheater at Overpeck Park again this year on July 24th. And both events are free to the public and will be very fun. Regarding State Street, that has been an eyesore for quite some time, and I am glad that we are finally moving forward on that project because it will help the entire Teaneck community, and it will help generate even more local revenue so that we can continue to hold the line on taxes and keep moving Teaneck forward with municipal budgets that have 0% tax increases. As for the cannabis question, I think we're only sticking to Alfred Avenue, but as a member of the subcommittee, I'm open to possibly opening that up more so long as it is done responsibly and carefully. As for the gentleman who mentioned the food donations, it is nice to meet you, sir. I will be more than happy to come meet with y'all if you give me a date and time. And if you don't mind, I'm going to ask Ellie for your phone number so I can reach out to you. But just in case, my cell phone is 201-543-7671, and I'll give it to you afterwards again, sir. And also thank you for what you do to help feed our communities. We appreciate that. And as for the resident from Cottage Place, he has once again showed that he has no idea what he is talking about, because I was in the bathroom during that break at our last council meeting, and then I came back to the dais. And that, Mr. Mayor, is my time. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Pagan. Councilmember Kaplan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I certainly agree with what Councilmember Pagan said, and I also think it's the height of absurdity to think that Councilwoman Rice wouldn't have voted the way she wanted to, regardless of what anyone had said to her. Regarding the Theodora Lacey street renaming, having had the privilege to work with Mrs. Lacey on the Historic Preservation Commission, I really wanted to congratulate everyone on the program yesterday. It was exactly what she deserved. I got a chuckle when her son, Clinton, got up to speak. speak, and he said, you know, mom was always the phrase we heard most, sorry, I got to go to a meeting. And I wind up saying that to my kids a lot. And that's why my daughter had asked me if she could come to this one. So I said yes. And I told Mrs. Lacey, unfortunately, she didn't see any of it because as soon as she got there, she saw kids playing in the park and wound up playing with all of them. And, you know, there's something to be said about saying that we are for diversity, saying that we are for inclusion, saying we are for everyone getting along. It's another that when we celebrate those massive steps by people in our community, to look over just at a park a few feet away and see it in action where kids of every race, creed, and nationality are playing together. We had a couple of interesting conversations about our kids. I know that the pandemic really put a hit in our SDL rollout, but I wanted to thank the town for getting that program up and running. Residents are now able to do many of the things they typically had to come in person, and they can now do electronically. Some of the things the new SDL program can handle are building department upgrades. So employees will now have iPads, have gone electric, and residents can schedule appointments through either the website or an app available on Android or iPhones. We can upload pictures, data, we can submit documents online with permit applications. Vendor payments are now available for credit cards. I got a chance to test the system with my own dog, purchased a dog license, uploaded the vet certificate for the rabies vaccination, paid online, everything went through, and it was fairly seamless. The clerk sent the license in the mail. So if you haven't had a chance yet, it's on our website. If you want to contact me, I'm at kcaplan@teanecknj.gov. Happy to chat about some of the new things we have coming through. The rec department interface through Rec Pro, I believe the manager is working on, should be up soon, so we'll be able to register, and a lot of new great things on the horizon.
Thank you. Councilmember Organ.
I also want to thank Mr. Kokuda for the work you do, and I'm more than happy to help. I hope you'll stick around till the end of the meeting so that we can all exchange phone numbers with you. Jervon, regarding cannabis and what's going on, Deo's Garden, Sebastian Castillo, who was on tonight, and Culture Craft, Anthony Campbell, I believe Mr. Collins, who was here before, works with him. All three have received provisional licenses from the state. Originally, we wanted to keep cannabis to Alfred Avenue because we didn't want to disrupt the neighborhoods and people who were not in favor of it. We've discussed maybe having a meeting with three of them, but my concern is still people who live near a possible site and how they would feel about that. Teaneck has a thriving senior center. It's led by Glenna Crockett, Mary Beth Hubbard, and Lisa Skolnick. The Senior Citizen Advisory Board is also very active, led by the chairwoman, my friend Jane Irwin. Classes are limited to how many you can take, and that's at the request of seniors and the number of people that can be in a class. Seniors are still worried about social distancing. There is a the township's social worker, Alex Sorbonne, is there 1 day a week to help with whatever they need help with. Right now, the seniors on the Senior Citizen Advisory Board have begun an endeavor, a senior business discount program. I'm sure they could use help from anyone in town who's looking to help them, but they will be going from business to business, supporting those businesses that would discount food or meals or any items to the seniors in town. And I'm sure they could use help from anybody who would be interested in helping with that. I think that's, oh, and just one more thing. I think it's a very, to say that we need more females on boards and then to say that females are swayed by males is a load of crap. I think anybody can say anything they want and twist any story any way they want. But we sit up here as females and we have opinions and we vote the way we want to vote and not the way anybody tells us to vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Organ. Deputy Mayor Katz.
Me.
Oh, I'm sorry, Deputy Mayor Schwartz.
Thank you very much. As to the State Street redevelopment that's on tonight, I think anyone in this township council, anyone in the room, anyone in the town knows what State Street looks like and how it needs to be improved. So I look forward to everyone's vote on that. The presentation given by our planner was very substantial, was very detailed, pictures and whatnot. But again, I don't think anyone in this room needs that to really know what State Street is all about and what that we can do to keep moving it forward. As it relates to the comment about Alfred Avenue, that area in need that was declared several months ago that leads up to this redevelopment plan is an outdated industrial park. Industrial parks nowadays are A, much larger, B, have much larger ceilings, have many more truck loading docks and accessibility for trucks. And that is exactly why the plan of this council and many councils has been to redevelop that area. And I'm happy to see this hopefully moving forward as well. I'm not sure if Ms. Baker's on it, and frankly, I've addressed Ms. Baker many times, but I don't know if she's actually hearing it because like many other people in this room, they leave after they speak. I hope she's on here. She's asked for communication. As many of us know, we've been down to Ms. Baker's house on numerous occasions. The township has tried calling her, gotten her voicemail, we sent her letters. Also, my cell phone number, I can always speak with her, is 917-902-9303, 917-902-9303. I've given that out to her publicly and privately as well. So if Ms. Baker would like to speak, the town and the letter we wrote to her as well would gladly and would look forward to speaking with her. I thank you very much. One last comment, Howard Rose. Thank you for your comments. A lot of the other towns are developing as well. It's a very legitimate point that you made. Bogota is obviously doing a lot of work. And what we're trying to do is to find that balance. You know, Hackensack is building thousands upon thousands of units, and we're absolutely not Hackensack. Englewood put thousands of units on, and thank God we're not Englewood. So we're really trying to find some medium, and I appreciate all your comments that we take to heart and try to implement what our thoughts are, what our ideas are, and put that in motion. So thank you again.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Katz.
Thank you, Mayor. First, I'd like to also recognize, and again, Dion, I know that we spoke on the phone. I actually stopped at your house after that initial recognition. I'm glad to hear you're still rocking and rolling with that. Someone who has a very good understanding of the needs as far as food in this community. It's certainly needed and appreciated. I just heard that the government is coming back and giving the boxes again. And that's a positive. I want to segue into what Ms. Goldberg mentioned regarding the seniors. Maybe it's something that we could look to also have distributed at the Rhoda Center for the seniors, because that would really help them as well. I do want to recognize Ms. Goldberg for losing her bet, but honoring her word, bringing the pizza for the council tonight. Thank you very much. We appreciate that. A lot of time residents come throwing the proverbial tomatoes. It's good to see you bring in the cheese and the sauce with it. So thank you for that. And Ms. Baker, just to give you the cell phone number again, 917-902-9303. Please call as often as you can. Take care.
All right. Before I make my comments, I want to ask legal counsel to say a few words about some of the comments this evening.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to just limit my comments very briefly to what seems to be a lot of confusion over the Open Public Meetings Act and what occurred at the last meeting. I've seen things written on social media. I've seen things said at council meetings tonight. I heard things said at the council meeting tonight that are simply legally inaccurate. And I think it's important that the public understands what a meeting is, that under the Open Public Meetings Act, in order for something to be considered a meeting, you have to have an effective majority of the full council. In this particular situation with this particular council of 7, that means 4 people. You have to have at least 4 people for it to be a meeting. There is nothing in any law, case law, statute, or otherwise. And I challenge all of the people that spoke tonight, if they want to send me any information or come speak to me or call me, as I always do, I'll be glad to talk about it with them. But there is no law that says that you cannot have a group of less than 4 people speaking. There's also no law that says that when you've been going for 3 hours plus, I think it was actually almost 3 hours and 40 minutes at the time that the break was taken by the mayor, that's wrong. That meetings are regularly paused to take breaks. And when that happens, if 2 council people or 3 council people happen to speak to one another, there's nothing wrong or illegal about that. That's part of the process of government. It's part of, they can speak on the street at any time. They can speak during a break at any time. There's been no laws that have been made or passed to change that or to alter that. And the fact of the matter is that I know for my own sake, because I was actually, and there was a comment about me rushing out of the room. One of the reasons why I went to go do what I did was to make sure that there was not going to be 4 people speaking together at any time. And I was observing everyone. I can say for a fact, Councilman Kaplan never left his seat except for, I think, approximately 5 seconds, maybe 10. Councilman Pagan left his seat to go to the bathroom. And I know that because I went to the bathroom right after him. And there was a line at our bathroom outside. So I don't think everyone needed that break. I think it was appropriate. I don't think there was anything illegal or nefarious about it. And at the end of the day, again, when there's a conversation about whether there's a meeting, you got to read the statutes first to understand what they say. And a closed session meeting, because that was also just brought up by one of the speakers, a closed session meeting is actually a meeting. It means there are 4 people there and the meeting is closed because of one of the exceptions, which the speaker referenced. But that's actually a meeting. It's a legal meeting under the definition of the statute in the Open Public Meetings Act, which means, again, you have 4 people and you're discussing something that's not permitted, 4 people or more in this case, and it's something that's not permitted to be discussed among the general public until, like, for example, in a litigation matter, until the litigation has been concluded. And there are 8 other exceptions as well. So thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Shadanian. All right, I just have a few comments. First of all, last night was just a tremendous event for Ms. Lacy. And I was proud to represent the council there. And I was so happy to see so many people come out. It was a real uplifting, hopeful event that it was just wonderful. I don't know what else to say, but it was wonderful. In terms of SDL and the services that it can provide, Dean, can we circle back and see whether or not we can set up a series of like Zoom meetings? And Councilman Kaplan, I know you were very much involved with this. If we could set up some educational sessions for the community to let them know, because I don't think they fully understand the capabilities of this and how it's going to help them, because that's basically why we did it in the first place. So if we could, we can talk about timing and whatever with that. I too would like the cannabis subcommittee, and I know the reasons why, and I agree with the reasons as to why we picked Alfred Avenue. But I also have seen, both in where I work down in Elizabeth, the importance of having it in an area of perhaps high foot traffic and other commercial activity. So if you can have a discussion about whether or not this is the time to entertain some other places as well, I'd be agreeable to listening to what you have to say about that. In terms of the bike safety, I would like us to take a look at that, Dean, if we could, and see what we might need to do. I've had people approach me about doing bike paths, greater bike paths around town, like bike paths between the parks, to try and work out a mapping system to do a bike path between the parks. I don't know if that's doable, but maybe we can have that discussion offline in terms of safety in that. And then finally, I didn't think about this until just recently, and I spoke to her again today. Many of you know Joyce and Bob Giddens, who have been longtime residents of Teaneck. Joyce has had a health challenge, and I have been, I know Dean has talked with them, and I've tried to talk with them almost daily now. in helping them make some decisions about healthcare and what to do. And I just want everybody to know that she's fine. She's doing well. I talked with her. She still has a ways to go, but please keep her in her thoughts and prayers as she goes through this little health challenge that she's having. Okay. All right. That's all I have. All right. Clerk, can you read the bill list, please?
Absolutely, Mayor. We have our consent agenda this evening, which consists of, one second. We have a consent agenda. I apologize. I don't have my papers in front of me. I'm using all the PDFs. The bill list is in the amount of $9,953,749.43. We have two sets of minutes, resolutions 211 to 218-2022, and the bill list with the aforementioned amount.
Thank you. Sorry. I have 219. Did you just say 218 or 219, Doug?
219 to 219.
Okay.
219 came yesterday. That's amending our capital budget, which I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Dean, is in reference to the bond ordinance that we have for introduction this evening.
That's correct, Doug.
Okay. All right. Do I hear a motion to move the consent agenda?
Motion to approve. Second.
That was Councilman Bagan.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Got
Any
it.
discussion? Yes, Deputy Mayor
I'm
Camp.
sorry, for 213, it says that there's a Schedule A and then it says addendum 4B forms added. Can you just tell us what property, the address this is? I don't
This
see the
is not,
Schedule A.
this is not a property auction. This is for,
This is the bicycle?
I believe this one is the bicycle. Yes, indeed, actually. Yes, for
Right.
live auction. This is what the
Got it.
manager was bringing up earlier.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Any
The
other
the form
questions?
packet is the list of property, just for everyone's information, if you wanted to look at it. The list of the bikes is there, if it sparks anyone's interest.
Go ahead.
I just have a question, or I guess maybe to pull the items or ask the questions.
Oh. What do you want to do?
How about let me pull them? I'll pull 211 and 212.
211 and 212 are pulled. Anything else? Okay, so what we'll do now, we have a motion to approve the raffles, minutes, bill lists, and resolutions number 213, 214, 215, 216, 217, 218, and 219. Doug, if you can call the roll, please.
Absolutely, Mayor. Councilwoman Rami Rice,
Yes, with an abstention on the bills list.
Councilman Bagan,
Yes.
Councilman Organ,
Yes.
Councilman Kaplan,
Yes, with a recusal on 22-2366, as I'm a member on their board.
22-366. I'm sorry, Councilman Kaplan. Which one is that?
Oh, the bill list?
It's on the bill list.
Oh, okay. That's right. That's right. Sorry about that. And you were recusing.
Yes.
And then we go to Deputy Mayor Schwartz.
Yes.
And then Deputy Mayor Katz.
Yes, with an abstention on the bill list.
And we have Mayor Dunleavy.
Yes. All right, we'll go back to 211, 2022, declaring State Street area a non-condemnation area in need of redevelopment. Councilmember Rice.
Yes, so while this absolutely is certainly an area that is horrible, a few blocks away from my home, as I live in the Northeast, it's just concerning to me that although we have a huge packet that includes renderings and all types of information that we haven't had any public opportunity to address the needs, the concerns of the community, addressing the master plan per se. And it just seems, area after area seems to just be deemed an area in need of improvement or being condemned, in need of redevelopment without any consideration of the neighbors. And the next thing you know, we just have a rendering and then the contract is awarded. Well, not even a contract is awarded, really. It's just given to the developer without any insight as to what we really need. So therefore, I'm not supporting that. 212, I'd just like to know in terms of the liquor license transfer, how does the public gain information as to when liquor license become available? If they're just simply transferred to another entity, how does the community member who's interested take advantage of any of those opportunities? This is
Okay.
an authorization for liquor license transfer to Grand Kosher LLC.
Okay, let's take one at a time. Let's go with comments on 211.
I'll address some comments. There's no developer for the State Street. State Street is a project that is about a dozen and a half sites ranging from the gas station at the northwest corner of State Street and Teaneck Road, going all the way to the end of the block to the Suburban Cabinets, which is underneath the State Street Bridge on Palisade Avenue. There's no developer. This council has had approximately 3 or 4 meetings, 3 meetings so far to date on this matter. And the planning board has held a hearing as well, which was quite detailed and quite lengthy, but there is no developer. There is no individual site. There is about 18 or so sites that are included in the potential to declare this area redevelopment, which gives the council, as we all know, quite a bit of powers to really work on righting the many eyesores that stretch from Palisade Avenue to Teaneck Road on that strip, a strip that I lived on for years as well.
So will it be an open community process in terms of communication to the community, how that will move forward? Or will be just like Alfred Avenue that we then get a rendering and it's pretty much a done deal?
There's no individual, these are individual parcels, so there's no anything, we don't have any next action steps on this matter. What this does is it designates the individual lots, in that if their developer does come forward for their individual site, unlike Alfred Avenue, like you said, Alfred Avenue, that was our one individual site. These are approximately 18 different sites. So there are no action steps. We have no more presentations of anything coming to us yet. We do imagine that once this is formally declared, the individual developers will come to us. Let's say, hopefully, the owner of 140 State Street, which is the abandoned, which is the lot at the southeast corner of Queen Anne Road and State Street. So let's hope he does come forth. But it would be up to them and the individual owners to approach us. But right now, we have nothing, but we really hope that they come forward. So if they do come forward, that whole process will start again on an individual lot basis. Is that correct, Mr. Attorney? If a developer comes now, that initial will come forward with that lot, and that'll be multiple meetings thereafter. But we have nothing else, contrary to other lots like Alfred Avenue, which is a solo one single lot designation.
So this will all be then discussed and through the planning board as well as zoning board?
First, we go to the council, then I go to the planning board, then I'll go back to the council, and the process will restart on a lot, on a parcel by parcel basis, if there is a project that is hopefully started. I hope that we really could develop some of these lots. That would be the goal.
Well, again, as I live in that neighborhood, I would certainly like to see an improvement, but I hope it is an open and fair process that the community has input to.
Every site, there's some sites that, that are probably available for sale if the owners want to sell it. I mean, there's some long-term ownership sites. A site in particular I'd love to see developed, it would, besides Queen Anne and State Street, would be the gas station at Teaneck Road and State Street, which is one of 3 gas stations all in immediate vicinity. So I really hope that people take advantage, ownership, people buy it, people develop it, and I hope so.
All right, are we done with 211? I'll now entertain discussion on 212.
I just asked the question as to how residents have inquired about obtaining a liquor license. And I was just wondering how that is a fair and open process when we have this here is giving authorization for the transfer to Grand Kosher. And I just would like to just make sure that the community is aware of how that process works.
If you'd like, Mayor, I could speak on
Yeah,
that.
go ahead.
I can.
Go ahead, clerk.
John, would you like to go first?
Well, I mean, it's liquor license is a private asset that's owned by private individuals. They're not owned by the community. So I mean, they're issued by the community, but once they're purchased, they're owned by the individual license holder. So if the license holder wants to transfer the liquor license or gets paid, but it gets purchased from someone else, they have to go through the transfer process. And that's so that the town makes sure that the new purchaser, the new owner, has met all the same requirements that the original owner had to own. It's not something where there would be any kind of knowledge of the foreknowledge of the township. We wouldn't know that it's happening until we get the actual application for the transfer.
So you're saying that we vet the current purchase, the person who wishes to obtain the transfer, we vet that process, we vet that person.
Well, they have to file for the transfer, in which case what the paperwork that they have to file contains their information, just like with the original applicant. So that we know, so once because again, in New Jersey, unlike New York, there's a limited number of liquor licenses for each town. So Teaneck has X number of liquor licenses. So when someone wants to sell it and someone else wants to purchase it, they have to go through the transfer process. Or if someone purchases a restaurant, for example, and they obtain the liquor license with the restaurant, then they have to transfer the liquor license to the new owner that purchases the restaurant. And we get their paperwork, so we know who liquor licenses.
Yeah, the transfer application, I'm very happy that I have never had to fill one of those out as an applicant because it is exhaustive. The police department give a very long review on each application too. We don't do anything in the clerk. We receive these applications. We don't do anything until the police review it and give us their recommendation on it. But all that being said, like the attorney mentioned, it is private business transactions between two entities or two individuals. That typically in Teaneck, I've seen it really ranges in the couple hundreds of thousands of dollars. We get periodic inquiries from very seemingly random people for a list of the liquor licenses in the township, which we do provide to them. It's a public document. Sometimes they inquire to us if there's any licenses that are trying to sell or trying to do a transfer, which we're not really privy to. And I think that's kind of manufactured. We don't want to be getting in between a private business transaction. The only time that the township gets involved is when it's time for us to give that approval, as with any liquor license. But how it happens is typically dealt with the potential buyer and the potential seller.
So when you say that the police are involved, so the township is involved in vetting, that was my question. So thank you, Doug, for answering that question.
Council,
Yeah,
it's a very
yeah.
exhaustive process with the background that the police do is involved in many of them, but it's a very exhaustive process with the supporting documentation that's needed to satisfy all the requirements.
Thank you.
Fingerprinting, background checks, financial checks, which are, I could imagine, exhaustive, making sure that the people who are applying to purchase this can actually support it financially. So there are like personal income information that is reviewed by the police department before giving their recommendation, which is important because you don't want to give a license to someone that may not be able to upkeep it.
Exactly. So that I appreciate the clarification that we do vet and go through the process, that we're not simply allowing a transfer, that we do make sure that all the T's are crossed and I's are dotted. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions on or comments about 212? All right, hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to move resolutions 211 and 212, 2022.
Second.
I think I heard Deputy Mayor Schwartz on the second first. Whoever. Okay. Councilman Pagan seconds. Doug, call the roll, please.
Yes, indeed. Councilwoman Rami Rice,
No on 211, yes on 212.
Councilman Bagan,
Yes on both.
Councilman Organ,
Yes, on both.
Councilman Kaplan,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Schwartz,
Yes, on both.
Deputy Mayor Katz,
Abstention on 211, yes on 212.
Mayor Dunleavy.
Yes on both. All right, we'll move to introduction of ordinances. Clerk, reading the title of the ordinances, please.
Yes. Sorry about that, just making my note here. So we have a couple ordinances that we are introducing this evening. Make sure I'm looking at the right thing here. Okay, first up, we have ordinance number 21-2022, adopting a revision and codification of the ordinances of the Township of Teaneck, County of Bergen, State of New Jersey. We have ordinance number 34-2022, establishing positions and salary ranges for executive, managerial, professional, and confidential employees and for unclassified municipal employees in the Township of Teaneck, effective January 1, 2022. We have ordinance number 35-2022, a bond ordinance providing for various 2022 capital improvements by and in the Township of Teaneck in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, appropriating $5,803,000, therefore including two grants totaling $890,245, and authorizing the issuance of $4,677,600 of bonds or notes of the township to finance part of the cost thereof. We have ordinance number 36-2022, last but not least, adopting a redevelopment plan for 359 Alfred Avenue, block 6002, lot 3 in the Township of Teaneck, New Jersey, pursuant to NJSA 40A:12A-7. And that is all, Mayor.
I'll ask if anybody on council has any comments, questions?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I just
Deputy
want
Mayor.
to thank Councilman Kaplan for working so diligently on. Thank you. No, appreciate the filling in the gaps.
And I want to thank the clerk and the attorneys because this is a 4-year process that I don't wish on anyone.
It was a pleasure to do it with you, Councilman Kaplan.
And just for the benefit of the public, this brings our code for the first time in about 50 years in line with where it's supposed to be. So you'll know that the laws that we have are the laws posted online.
And I just might like to make a comment. It's not a biggie at all. On page 125, chapter 30, sewers and sewage disposal, I think we have to change, we're changing United Water Company to Suez North, and we need to change it to.
I brought that
Viola.
up with the attorneys, and at the time they had just done the
Yeah,
name change, but I would be happy to amend that to, how do they pronounce it now? Voila.
Yeah, voila, whatever it is. Okay, all right. I just wanted to point that out. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
And so we're going to introduce with that stipulation you said, Mayor?
I'm sorry, what'd you say, clerk?
We're going to introduce with the stipulation to changing Suez to Viola or Voila.
Yes.
Yes. All right, do I hear a motion to introduce?
Motion. Second.
21, 34, 35, and 36?
Motion to
heard-
introduce.
I heard Councilman Kaplan and
Second.
and Councilmember Rice on this, on the second. All right, let's call the roll, please.
Councilwoman Rami Rice,
Yes to introduction.
Councilman Bagan,
Yes.
Councilwoman Organ,
Yes.
Councilman Kaplan,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Schwartz,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Katz,
Yes.
Mayor Dunleavy,
Yes.
all introduced. We will see them next time.
Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Moved and seconded.
10:09.
Night, everybody.
Everybody get home safe.